Hey YouTubers, welcome back for another adventure. So this is the 2013 John Way 110cc with an automatic. This thing came in and it had a spark problem and a sat outside for too long. Carburetor got messed up and so forth problems. So anyhow, it didn't have that many miles on it. Came with the key fob and everything, so I'm like, I should be able to fix this. Well, and I have to tell you, this is all the junk that is the wire harness and voltage regulator, CDI, handlebar switch, various covers, connectors. This is the thing that the key fob turns on and off, which, by the way, happens to be, see right there, how it looks rusty inside. So this is shot, plus the wiring was messed up. I mean, look at this wiring here. So I have to admit, I spent a lot of time on this, much more time than anyone should spend on a $50 quad. But I was really trying to completely understand it. This is the original CDI on there that has a completely different wire, a different wiring diagram, so to speak. The terminals are in different places than your standard ones, or if they're not, this is dead. The key switch was functional, but the starter button was bad here. It had trouble with the lights, the on and off. And on top of all that, they did some weird wiring stuff here that you really, in my opinion, you can't, this wire harness cannot be fixed. I mean, I have a BA in physics, a BS in electrical engineering, work toward masters in electrical engineering. You guys know I work on this stuff, and I mean, you just can't fix this. It's done. Especially like when you start seeing corrosion on the key fob. So from there I went to, well, let me rewire it. You know, a lot of folks say, hey, could you show me how to rewire it such that my key switch and everything else still works? And I have to be honest with you guys. With some of the weird stuff they did with this, I'm not even sure that could be done easily. So here's the solution, and the only solution I'm going to talk about from now on, because I really cannot troubleshoot this, and it's right in front of me, and I definitely cannot troubleshoot it through YouTube a million miles away, or 1,000 miles away, or 500 miles away, or even right next door. I can't troubleshoot your problems through YouTube. It's impossible. I tried, and if I can't fix this, I definitely can't fix your bike long distance. There's a simple 3-step process to fix your China quads and a lot of your Honda stuff. This is the flywheel side of the engine. You can tell because it has that cap for timing and this cap for rotating your crank. And out of that side of the engine, you have this wire harness come out with a plug. When you look at this wire harness, you see the nice blue-white, you see the green, and you should see a black-red. If you have those wires, you're good. If you don't have those wires, I'm not quite sure what you have. Every China quad I've worked on seems to have those wires, and all the Honda stuff seems to have those wires. This thing also has a white and a yellow wire, which goes to the battery, goes to the voltage regulator, and from the voltage regulator to charge the battery. But the wires I mentioned, green, right, black and red, green, black and red, and the blue and white. Those are the ones you need. So you identify those, you're happy, right? Look yourself in the mirror. Look at me, I'm happy. Good. Second thing you do, you buy this, right? So all you do, you spend your 13 bucks. If you don't have 13 bucks to spend on that, you can't fix your quad. Put it on Craigslist for 50 bucks and I'll come buy it from you. All right, good. So, first of all, make sure you have that wire harness I just showed you. Second of all, you buy that harness. Now, there's kind of the simple way to do it and the more complicated way to do it. I did it by, I just plugged these wires in, and you see how this blue and white is the last wire, and then it goes into blue and white. Wow, blue and white to blue and white, not difficult. Black and red, right, goes to black and red, not difficult. Green goes to green, and I also ran an extra green that goes to the case, goes to the engine case. Why do I do that? I want to make sure all my spark gets to the engine and nothing is lost in wiring. In particular, I don't want any of that spark, you know, the, I don't know, 20,000, 25,000 volts, 50,000 volts, whatever it is from the CDI. I don't want it feeding back and, you know, killing my CDI unit. So, you bought that harness, you plug the CDI into the harness, not difficult. You plug the on and off switch into the harness, not difficult, right? And the last thing you did, it comes with a spark coil that you can plug into the harness. In my case, the spark coil was mounted, it was good, it's already ready to go. So I just plugged, where did I plug that into the harness? See, right here, I plugged that into the harness, right? So green and yellow to green and green to green, and black and yellow to black and yellow. That hooks up my spark plug, and this guy is just the on and off switch. I mean, that's simple. That's simple. So you might completely take off your harness, or you might just isolate those 3 wires and hook them up as I described, and leave the rest of your harness intact. Don't mess with it. Maybe when your engine starts, your battery will charge, your lights will work, and everything else. But by disconnecting the wires I described, blue and white, black and red, and the green one, the key switch for turning it on and off will not work, and your handlebar switch for turning it on and off will not work. And if you have one of those key fob things for turning it on and off, that will not work because you're running on a different ignition system, right? So that's to on, right? The big one's to off, that's to on. And I have this battery pack going directly to the starter, right? This wire goes directly to the starter, that goes directly to ground. So when I turn this, the motor's going to go around, the ignition is turned on, and let's see what happens. Here we go. And you turn it off. From now on, that's what I have to say. It's really about impossible to troubleshoot a CDI, this CDI unit, on a bench. I mean, can it be done? Yeah, I'm sure I can put something like 25 volts AC into it. I could get a separate pulse generator and figure out how to pulse it and all that. But what good does it do if it might be a special case wired differently than everything else? You don't even know where the leads go. I mean, this is the simplest way of doing it. Trying to go through their wiring diagrams and everything else, God knows I tried. You're just not going to get it there. For me, I would like to get this thing to the point where I can push a button and the electric starter works. It's just easier that way. I do not care. I don't care a hoot about the lights. I'm not going to ride it at night. If I am going to ride something at night, it's definitely not going to be this thing, right? Just what I need to do is be running around on this thing at night. It's somebody my size riding this thing is dangerous enough. Riding it around at night is just goes under the land of stupid. So I won't be riding this at night. If I'm going to ride some at night, I got nice stuff to ride. Why do I want to ride this at night? So there it is. I've made it as simple as possible. No matter what, if you cannot identify that you have these wires, if you can't find them, it doesn't pay to buy the wire harness, and there's no way I can tell you how to fix it. I can type 1,000 words to you and you'll never fix it. If you could identify that wire harness, and you could buy this one for $13. I mean, postage paid, $13.50. You got the CDI there, somewhere around the 4 o'clock position. At the 2 o'clock position, you got the on and off button. That is a push and hold button. I happen to buy one that has the click off button. See the wire harness there, and you see the spark coil. You got it all. Then you're done. Then it's easy. Once again, you can hook this up kind of around your existing harness, and with some luck your lights will still work and everything else. If you have bad luck, and some people do, if the problem with your harness is you have some kind of short between your battery and your engine generating power, you could end up with you know, a hot foot, so to speak. You can end up with a source of ignition. Right? So in my case, I completely disconnected it. So I'm not using any high power except to turn the engine over with that battery pack, and once it's running, obviously I'm going to disconnect it, and it's gone. It's not, the AC part of the thing is not hooked up, so you know, there's really no way for it to get into any trouble. It's kind of a way of simplifying the whole thing. If you buy one of these for your kid, perhaps you don't want them riding it unless you're there to set it up for them. You set up the pit bike ignition as I just showed you. You use your jump pack to start it. You send them out on their way, you know, with a certain amount of gas. When they run out of gas, they're done playing for the day. Hopefully they don't do it from 4 miles away. And there you are, you're done. This is really the only way to answer the question. I can't fix that, and I really don't think most of you can either, especially when you start seeing corrosion in the circuitry there on those surface mount caps and so forth. You're done. It's a wrap. So and also, this thing not only had that wiring problem, but it had troubles internally to this switch. And once again, the CDI here, I don't know if it's wired differently or if it's bad. I know it doesn't work if I plug it in to where that CDI is up there. It does not work. So once again, either it's wired differently or it's done. It's non-functional. So, right, I've just identified 3 problems. You can't fix that from long distance. I mean, I might talk you through how to fix the CDI problem, but still, you got the whole thing turned off because you got corrosion in here. Then you got wiring problems in here. So even if I talk you through this and the CDI problem, your switches aren't working. So maybe it's turned off up here, and so just give up. Put the pit bike harness, and it's easier on all of us. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching and commenting and subscribing. Please remember to keep your feet down, keep your heads up, and get out there and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.